Second.
We have a second by the President, Chris Norwood. All in favor? I just say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I abstain.
Oh yeah, you can abstain. Yeah. That's right. I like that. Very good. Okay, and the motion is none are opposed. The motion is carried. Those minutes have been approved. And we'll move forward here to discussion items. One, meeting schedule and frequency. I guess we're scheduling for the next meeting already. Okay, this meeting didn't even get started yet.
Well, Mayor, if I may, before the holiday break, we had just talked about when we were going to meet with this group, and then if Fridays at 4 p.m. still worked for everybody. And so that was just a discussion with the subcommittee to have. And then we can schedule you guys out after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to request for our meeting day to move no longer Friday, but to maybe more earlier or midweek. I know Tuesdays can be a challenge for us all. Mondays are Mondays, and so maybe I could float the interest around my colleagues here to move no more Fridays. And that's on me. That's my fault. That was my previous work schedule. But we'll go to the Vice Mayor. What do you think?
Thank you. I was going to raise my hand, but I raised it realistically.
Yeah, we got a small group here. Just raise your real hand.
Yeah.
I got. Yeah.
All right. So I was proposing maybe Monday, so that it'll be easier to remember, and maybe the first or last Monday of the month.
Yeah, I'm just worried about holidays, Memorial Day and things like that. You know what I mean? And maybe Mondays aren't, just due to the holidays out there.
Well, to me, it's better than Fridays, but
yeah. How about Wednesdays? How about Wednesdays?
It's just that I have a lot of meetings during the week because now that I'm on. But yeah, let's try it. We can do Wednesday. I think I have.
Well, no, I think you had a good point. Let's do like a second. Yeah.
Is it a discussion? Are we discussing it, or what? What are we doing?
Yeah, we are. We're having a discussion on it. Maybe a second or third Monday when there's typically not a holiday.
Maybe the last Monday.
Yeah, I'm just worried Memorial Day is coming up.
Well, maybe ask for other suggestions from other folks.
Yeah, let's check in with the school board members here. I
always look at these meetings as a precursor to what's going to happen next week or in the future. We're talking about long-term items, and then we're also talking about items that may have immediate requirements so that everybody can add it to their Monday or next week's agenda. So I've always looked at Fridays as saying, okay, whatever's past, we're gonna take whatever's in the past, we're gonna bring it to this conversation, and it's gonna propel us forward to the future. When you do that on a Monday, everybody's already thinking about what they have to do this week, Monday, because you have the week ahead of you. So I appreciated the opportunities to come together on Friday afternoons because I always looked at how it propelled us forward, whether it would be a board meeting or direction to staff or whatever else, and they would have it starting next week versus giving them something on a Monday or a Tuesday, then they're adding to that. They think that it's adding to their plate that week because that's when we submitted it. So if we can kind of have, if I can kind of have a general census of what we want to use these meetings for, that will be helpful to me in terms of what day would work best outside of what we're doing now.
No, I hear you. That's very logical. Let's go to the Vice Mayor here. I see your hand. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've always, I don't know why, I guess you're the one that wanted to change it, but I've appreciated Fridays. Fridays work fine for me. But I guess if somebody wants to change it, then we can, but I'm good with Fridays. Just to make it clear, just for the record, I'm good with Fridays.
Okay, great. Well, we got a couple of, I get it. Reports for Friday, so I'm fine with that. I was just trying to be mindful for folks and their families if their children are doing things, activities, or the weekends upon persons, just community events, and I was just trying to be mindful, even when we have our members of the public that are joining us like today. I just want to hope that we can provide them a convenient time for their families, but we can stick to this late Friday. I do hear interest from my colleagues, so that'll make 3 of us. And then Kelly, I mean, I want to make sure I get your input as well.
Yeah, Thursday or Friday afternoon is fine, but not too late in the late afternoon on Fridays, because people start their weekends or they go out of town immediately after school or whatever, So Thursday, around lunchtime afternoon is good. Friday, the same thing.
Okay, well, I'm just listening here to my colleagues. Looks like we'll stick to the late Friday here. These meetings typically are scheduled for 90 minutes or less on Fridays at 4 p.m. And so we'll do our best to do time management. And so for that item, yeah, we'll stick to the time and the day of the week, and then the frequency. I think we're meeting what, every 2 months? Is that?
This has been monthly, right, Renee?
Okay, monthly.
Monthly and every other month.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the refresher. So we'll keep it there. And which Friday of the month for the minutes here?
We're doing the 4th Friday.
Okay, the 4th Friday. Okay, great. All right, looks like we have consensus there. And so we'll move forward to the softball fields options discussion. Renee?
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
And while she's doing that, I want to recognize the members of the public. Thanks for being here this afternoon. I saw the community organizing on the internet and social media. So the community members that are here this afternoon, thank you for advocating for members of our community. We know there's a lot of folks out there that are interested in this item. Renee?
Thank you, Mayor. So good evening, council and school board and staff. So we're going to go through an update on the softball fields and have a discussion this afternoon. So a little bit of background. So the city and the school district entered into a joint use agreement in '97 for Bobby Sox Fields at Russell Middle School, which is a Milpitas Unified School District property. 2010, the JUA was updated to capture the actual improvements made to the site, fields, infrastructure, snack shack, restroom, portable, and it captured the maintenance and the shared use, timing, and operations, the rules and obligations that went along with that as well. The current agreement goes through 2036. In 2018, Milpitas Unified School District bond measure passed. Part of that bond measure was the replacement of athletic fields at several school sites, also and including Russell Middle School fields. The Russell Fields project is to incorporate a new track facility and keeping a softball field, but interesting, a new track facility, multi-use field inside of the track. That change does reduce the number of sports fields at the site from 4 to 2. Therefore, the school district had requested an amendment to the JUA to reflect that change and the different types of use of the site. So part of the JUA, just so everyone understands what the use is or how it's outlined now, the fields are used and available for school activities at Russell from Monday through Friday until 4 p.m. and on special occasions. And then it's open for public use, which is managed by the city Monday through Fridays after 4 and on weekends. And that existing site before the changes with the bond project are 3 fields plus 1 practice field, which softball does currently use for their minis, which is a 3 to 6 year olds, has 1 snack shack and restroom facility, and then the parking lots that go along with the site. So after the school district approached the city with the changes to the site and the JUA request, city staff did begin meeting with the PAL board representatives and had discussions with Little League leadership and the PAL North Valley Bobby Sox leadership. We met in January, March, and June of 2020, along with other emails and some phone discussions. This body, the City School Collaborative Subcommittee, discussed the topics in August and October, and I do believe that our City Council discussed it a couple times at meetings, and then the school board also. In these discussions and in October, the school district announced that changes to the construction schedule at Russell would allow for the 2021 Bobby Sox season to happen this year at Russell. So with the direction that staff received from the subcommittee and the City Council, we did use our consultant who's working on our Parks and Recreation master plan update to work on potential sites and site review for new softball fields in the city of Milpitas. With that, we created a stakeholder group, which had representatives from softball, the city, and the school district to talk about those potential sites. And we met in November and December of 2020. So the following sites at the November meeting were discussed. We talked about Pomeroy Elementary School in conjunction with continued use at Russell Middle School. We've looked at Rancho Middle School, Gill Memorial Park, the future McCandless Park, the Milpitas Sports Center Fields, Cardoza Park, and Dixon Landing Park. In that discussion, each site was evaluated based on the improvement feasibility of the site and the amenities that closely resemble the existing conditions at Russell Fields. So as a reminder, Russell has 4 regulation fields and audience seating, the snack shack, accessible restrooms, storage, and parking. So based on that criteria, the following 3 potential sites were shortlisted at the November stakeholders meeting for the consultant to further investigate and conduct additional evaluation. And those sites were the Russell Pomeroy combination site, Cardoza Park, and Dixon Landing Park. The findings from the deep dive into those 3 sites were discussed with PAL softball representatives, the city and school district staff on December 11th, 2020. So I'm going to go through each of those sites. First, we're going to look at what the existing conditions are and then what potential amenity renovations would look like. So the first one is Russell and Pomeroy. As it stands right now, without any of the future construction, there's 4 fields which exist at Russell. There's 1 restroom, snack shack, parking, and just not that it was a existing condition, but there is no lighting. We just wanted to note that. There are no built out amenities for softball or sports at Russell Pomeroy at this time. All of these amenities are over at Russell. So if we were to build out this site for future softball use, you can see on the top right with the dotted or dashed black line, that shows the plans that were submitted for the bond project at Russell Middle School. So you can see the 2 softball fields that are left, and then you can see the new multi-use field and track. On the left-hand side, you can see Pomeroy. I'm gonna move my mouse so I don't know if you can see it. So there would be an addition of 2 more softball fields. The parking is existing. The restrooms available at the site would be existing already inside of the school. And then any snack shack or storage facilities would have to be constructed. Those would also be new. The site was looked at as potential because there is opportunity in space for 4 total fields. The sites are within walking distance of each other, so they're very close. The walking distance at 2 separate sites also ended up being a concern for our softball representatives, but this was a potential build out of this site. The cost estimate, and these are very preliminary and rough, for this site would be about $1,040,000, and that includes the demolition, adding the 2 new fields at Pomeroy, potential shade structure with power to act as a snack shack area, and then standard construction design contingencies. The next site we looked at was Cardoza. The existing conditions at Cardoza now, there is 1 softball field. There are 2 restrooms, the existing one at Cardoza that's been there for quite a long time. There is 1 new restroom as part of the new snack shack project that was just finished. There's existing parking on both sides of the park. And this softball field does have lighting. So potential renovations at this site would leave the parking as it is, but you'll see in the middle that it turns that one softball field into a more rectangular shape and includes 2 new fields in that one area. It also, to the right, includes a smaller field, which would be like a mini size in some space at the top east side of the park. A storage container could be added, that would be new. And then you can see right here, there's a note that the concession stand and additional restrooms are also available at the sports center in the new snack shack that was just built and opened in October.
Pause right there, Renee, if I may. Sorry to interrupt you. Let me go back to that. I'm trying. I'm embarrassed right now. I'm trying to figure out the orientation. I should know this, you know, but
I know, that's okay. Don't worry.
I'm like,
so
I'm
this is
Cardoza.
Yeah. So this is this is Kennedy. I'm pointing like you can see my screen, but at the top here of the screen, this is Kennedy Drive. So this is the east side parking lot. This is the playgrounds.
Oh.
The current softball field is actually pretty much right here.
Oh my goodness.
So so it has a build out of the fields area. It'd be complete renovation over here.
Oh wow.
And it would add a second field. There would be additional parking potentially. This is existing parking right here. This is a picnic area. This exists now. We could using some of that space to have one more field here, and then you could add storage. So this overlay is part of the Sports Center Master Plan, which is still in draft form. That was a project approved by council about 1.5 years ago as part of our capital improvement program. So there's future other build outs that could happen at this site, sort of finishing this sports complex area, if you will. But that's this site.
Okay.
It's looked the same way for so long, it's kind of hard to picture in a different way, but that's where this is. And then if you walk this way down the slide, then you're to your right, here are the Little League fields. And then if you kept going, you would run into the sports center.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, the cost estimate for Cardoza, including the demo, softball field additions, the additional parking spaces, and standard construction design contingencies, that takes us to about $2,047,500 for this project. The last one is Dixon Landing Park. The existing conditions at this park right now, there are 4 fields. There is a restroom facility. There's an existing snack shack. There is parking. This site does not have lighting. So potential renovations to these amenities would be to reskin and actually skin many of the infields so that they were ready for softball. The snack shack restroom facility is right here in the middle of the park. It is existing and is not quite used as most of the other ones, so it's in fairly good shape. There is parking that is here. It is existing. There's about 84 spaces here. This site, when we discussed it, was a viable site. One of the concerns was the parking at this one. The cost estimate for this site is $902,750, which includes the same as the other demolition. The fees are reskinning the infields because the field's already existing, and then the standard construction and design contingency. So here's sort of an at a glance look at this, all the 3 sites. So for regulation and practice fields at full build out, Russell and Pomeroy would have 4 fields total. Cardoza Park would have 3 fields. However, as part of that package, if you will, there was potential use for one of the T-ball fields at Little League. Dixon Landing would have 4 fields. Each site would have a snack shack or shade structure with power for basic concessions. At Russell and Pomeroy, that would need to be a new structure. At Cardoza and Dixon, those structures are existing. Restrooms exist at all sites. Storage exists currently at Dixon Landing. The Russell, Pomeroy, and Cardoza sites, that would need to be in addition. Parking spaces are laid out. You can see there's a difference there. Russell and Pomeroy has a potential for 185 existing parking spaces. Cardoza Park would have a new build out of 183 spaces, and Dixon Landing has currently 85 parking spaces. Cardoza is the only site that has existing lighting. The other sites do not. You'll see the note at the bottom that the installation of any new lighting would need to go through an environmental impact report. Those costs are not included in any of the cost estimates that you saw today. And then again, just a reminder of the costs. Russell and Pomeroy is about 1.4 million. Cardoza would be 2.05, and then Dixon Landing would be 903,000. And then just as notes, although you all know, Russell and Pomeroy are both Milpitas Unified School District owned sites, and Cardoza and Dixon Landing are both city owned sites. So fiscal impacts, there is no current funding identified in either city or Milpitas Unified School District budgets for the 3 options. Improvement of any of these sites would need to be completed in phases, and that would be contingent, of course, on budget availability. So our engineers did take a look at each site and gave us an estimated number of phases that it would take to complete each option. Cardoza Park would take about 4 phases to complete. And again, that budget is 2.04. Pomeroy would take 2 phases to complete, most likely. And then Dixon Landing also would take about 2 phases to complete. So next steps. We're here today with you, the subcommittee, to receive feedback and hopefully finalize the preferred site. We were going to continue to engage with the youth sports representatives along with the city and the school district to maintain that stakeholders group. As part of that, we did have some great discussions about continuing JUAs and additional JUA areas like Synod and Spangler for softball practices. Once we receive some direction tonight or today, we would start to prepare an in-depth estimate and construction phasing of a final preferred option. And then we would bring that forward as a proposed long-term solution to both policy bodies for consideration and approval. So that concludes the presentation. I am here. We have representatives from engineering here as well, Public Works, to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Renee, so much. I really appreciated the presentation. Let's go straight to public comment here. Because there is no public comment in the public forum, I'm going to extend the public comment time frame to 3 minutes to allow for our community members to share with us their passion for our community. So I see everybody here on the Zoom. Welcome, everybody. It's very an honor to have you here. So we're taking your comments now, 3 minutes per person. Please raise your virtual raised hand, please. And I would love to call upon you. I want to hear from you. Come on. Okay, I know folks are here. Okay, here we go. Thank you so much. All right, everybody figure out your Zoom. There's a virtual raise hand button that will allow for us to kind of activate your microphone. First up here, we've got Tina Ortiz. Welcome.
Good afternoon. This is Tina. I'm the president of PAL Softball. I do appreciate the city and the district working with us to establish a site for softball, because I know it's one of our biggest concerns for our future and for the future of the girls to continue to play in the city limits. I guess if we did have a board meeting recently and the board was presented with all the information from the last meetings that we had. I know we were a little hesitant on the Pomeroy because of the splitting. And I think Renee hit it on the nose when she mentioned that, just what our concerns were with the travel and mainly the snack shack and field prep, because we would need a lot more staff to prep at 2 different sites. As far as Cardoza and Dixon, we do like the idea of Cardoza because we would like to secure a field with lights, because that gives us longer time to, just to maintain practices and games. The only concern is the 3rd field. So I don't know how set the city is on keeping the basketball courts there. I know it would be a nice feature there, or if they would even consider adding another field at Burnett to accommodate a lack of a field, because we would really like to have 4 and not have to worry about splitting with Little League, because we both play on weekends. And then as far as Dixon, we like it. The main downfall for us is the parking. If we can't get our families there and our players there and coaches, an adequate place to park just to get to the field to have practices, it doesn't matter how nice it looks. It's really not gonna benefit us if we have to, be parking at 7-Eleven down the street and walking in with equipment and families and players. So, I know that's one of the concerns they expressed in the meeting. So I'm just kind of giving our feedback, because I know last time we met with Renee and the team, that it was mainly just a discussion, a presentation. And I know we did also mention Senate as a potential, because that is a field that is softball field that's ready skinned with lights, and other fields need to be added. And I'm hoping at some point we'll get some feedback on that, maybe at the next meeting. But that's the information I have for you guys, and I thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Okay, we want to hear from more folks here. I know we got a lot of folks here. The time is now. No, now or never. And don't make me wait here. I see the names here on the Zoom. All our great attendees. Go ahead, raise your virtual raised hand up. Great. Next up here we have Kalaya.
Okay, so I'm a student at MHS, and softball is important to me as well as other girls because it gives us the opportunity to meet new girls, but it also allows us to gain a new level of confidence. And I've been playing for softball at Russell for about 12 years, and I met a lot of great coaches and players. And I think that if you take the fields away from the girls at Russell, they wouldn't be able to form bonds with all different players and coaches, even the younger players. Also, the fields have been there for many years and are a part of Milpitas. I don't think it would be fair for the younger kids to not get a chance to play at the fields that were put there for females to play.
Thank you. We appreciate you. We hear your voice. Thank you so much. All right. Next up. And you don't have to wait to raise your virtual raised hands, folks. Our guests today, our community members, our neighbors, everybody could raise their virtual raised hand right now, and I'll just go down the list and call you. All right. Next up here, we have Leilani. Welcome.
I think the fields at Russell are important to us because, for one, they've been there for a very long time, and the people that played there prior to years before, they kind of grew up on that field, and it's very convenient because it's close to MHS and where we live, mostly Milpitas, and it's one of the main fields that's been there for a while. And like Kalea said, it helped us build bonds that we didn't realize we were going to build. And even in the future, I feel it would be good for the younger kids that are growing up to experience what we experience. And that's also one of the fields, since it's been there for so long, I feel for them to experience that, it'd be cool because we grew up on it, and for them to grow up on it, yeah, it's that is that's a whole part of Milpitas right there. Leaving that at Russell is it's more kids to grow with that and have the experience that we did. And yeah, like it brings us together, like just that one spot. But I think that's like very important. Yeah.
Right on. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. We hear you. Thank you for your comments. All right, folks. I know there's a few more members here of our friends sometimes here. Come on now. All right, go ahead. Raise your virtual raised hand up, please. Or else you're gonna hear me just keep blabbering. You don't want to do that. I'm gonna give it here another maybe minute here. Yeah, okay. Anna Rodriguez, welcome.
Hi, Mayor. This is Anna Rodriguez, and I'm also part of the PAL softball board. And I just wanted to echo Tina's words, and also wanted to add, when considering Dixon, she did bring up a good point about the parking. And I guess it's something to consider wherever we may land, just as far as safety goes. If we're having to park far away from wherever we have to play, not only does that create potential risk for all the little girls and families and anyone who has to walk a certain distance to get to the fields. I think that should be something to be considered. And it also creates an issue based on our scheduling. When you start to schedule games, if people are showing up late, then it kind of ruins what we have scheduled, just because it puts people in delayed games. Then we have to make the link game, the days are longer. So just something to consider, but definitely echoing everything that Tina said. I think that our entire board is in agreement of what she spoke. So I just kind of wanted to just echo her sentiments. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much. Okay. For those that provided comment, we appreciate you. And if you would like to, if you have not done so, now's your opportunity. All right. I think there may be one or two names I see here on the Zoom that haven't spoken, and it's okay. Okay. And so that's it with public comment there. I do want to.
Yeah.
Does that sound?
All right. Thank you so much.
Cheryl, I think you're on mute, Cheryl.
Right now I'm looking at the green couch.
Cheryl.
You gotta turn it
Oh my God. Cheryl.
Perfect.
Cheryl, there you go. There you go. Thank you, IT. You see these Friday meetings, right? There's always something happening on a late Friday. I'll tell you that. Okay. All right. That's it with public comment and other comments. We'll bring it back up here to the virtual dais. I guess I'll kick this conversation off by just really expressing my thanks for the school district and our board and our leadership over there for, at least delaying the construction over there. That was huge. I know that was, not an easy decision, hard and easy at the same time, maybe, but, I think the community really appreciates that. They're with us here, and I really appreciate that. And we'll see how these next few months go with the county and softball, and hopefully the young student athletes can get out there before this, throughout the spring, I guess, for softball. So we'll be cheering on the softball program right now here in January going forward. Really hopeful that the young student athletes can get out there. But here we are today, and I do want to say that I am in support of the Cardoza location for many reasons. And in no particular order, I think the location is great, as it's really centered in town. And then two, it is city property, and our parks are evolving, and I think that would be great to have softball out there at that location. That's a great job, Renee and our engineers. A really great job to have those fields out there. And it's just what our young ladies and community members and families deserve is a beautiful location. Unlike Dixon, Dixon, Milpitas, we're kind of, you think about all the sports throughout our history and the sports fields, you look at the pictures, the team pictures, and the backdrop has always been our beautiful hills. And I look at my old Milpitas Knights Pee Wee team photo, and the background's the Milpitas Hills. And I just want that tradition to carry on to our softball players as well. Dixon's really great and all, but our hills are our hills, and I'm free to and comfortable to really say that. And also give the city more efficiency to get it done, to really, once we fund this, to have it completed. And I think that will allow the school district also to, you know, continue to focus on your core mission. And so really in the end, it's the fiscal impact. And I think sooner than later, our economy here in town is going to rebound very strongly. I'm very hopeful for that. I really push forward for Measure F with our sales tax increase. And part of that tax revenue, I think, will be going back to the community. This is going to be an 8-year temporary quarter-cent sales tax. And I think when we're ready, and I think there will be some time where we're going to have to bridge the gap. The softball program will need a place kind of as a bridge. And I think that could be another conversation for another day soon, very soon. But that's how I see this playing out as one person. And the last thing I want to say is I do support for the school district bond project with that multi-use field behind Russell. I really am 100% behind that happening later this year after the softball season 2021. I think that's the best decision as a taxpayer and property taxpayer and someone that endorsed the school bond measure at 2018. And for the students of Russell, you know, I have personal experience as a graduate of that school, and we used to run cross country around the campus there. And when it came time for track season, we actually had to go across the street to Milpitas High School, and we had to schedule and coordinate with the high school team, Russell team here. And so just a long list of benefits for our Russell middle school students, in my opinion, here in town. I do want to go to my colleagues now, and we can go in a big circle down the line. I'll just do that. Yeah. So let me go to my colleague, and then we'll go over to the school board here. So let me go to my colleague, Vice Mayor Montano.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Tran. I'm really impressed with the staff, really trying hard and find different ways. This is the first time I heard about Pomeroy and what was the other one? Yeah, Pomeroy School. And then I really appreciate you breaking down the prices and how many phases it will take to get these this field done, or the softball fields done. So I had one question. Is there a potential for Cardoza to have 4 fields there for the softball teams, staff?
I think we could definitely look at this at a 4th field in the area that Tina had mentioned in the basketball courts. So we can take a look at that and see if the measurements will allow for a 4th field. The Little League fields are right next to it. So we had talked about them using T-ball for the minis. But like Tina said, and I know we've talked about it before at this group, was just the overlap because the seasons are the same for both softball and Little League. So we wouldn't want to take away from anyone. But I know both groups are absolutely willing to share and collaborate. But we would have to go back, Vice Mayor, and see if we could actually get another field in that space.
Yeah, if there's potential there, that's probably the best site. Plus it has the lighting, you have the snack shack there nearby, and you have a lot of parking. I know Dixon is probably, Dixon is ideal. The only problem is there's the parking, and safety is when, I'm glad the parent brought up safety, because that is paramount. Paramount is we don't want any of our children to get hit by a car or so forth. That's probably that's probably the reason. Well, that is the only reason I'd probably say Dixon is probably not even though it's an ideal spot, but the parking is the biggest issue. And I also want to mention that I'm glad the speakers spoke, because the girls that spoke about their experiences in softball, a lot of folks don't realize that softball, when you're into softball and you're really good, you can get scholarships. And a lot of these girls would not be able to afford to go on to college if they didn't get grants, softball grants. So that to me is really important, that we keep this, that we do everything we can to make sure that these girls get a playing field so they can really, take off and become to their fullest potential. So yeah, I want to hear from the other folks, but I think to me, probably Cardoza is probably the better one, but unless the softball teams have some other concerns, then we need to hear it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm gonna quickly follow up on your comment about the Cardoza. Let me go to Renee here. I know we love baseball here in town, and but I know the participation numbers are going down a bit. Last time I checked, baseball has how many fields? I didn't play baseball. I don't know this.
So there are, there's 5 fields at the Sports Center. So there's a senior field, and then they have the major, minor, farm, and T-ball at the Sports Center. And then Dixon Landing has 4 other fields. A long time ago, we used to have Little League North and Little League South, and now there's just one Little League. So that's why there's just 2 sides on each side of town. That site has the 4 fields. I believe 1 to 2 of those fields does not have a skinned infield, and they have portable mounds. So there may have been some softball play there at some point as well. So that's what we have for Little League as far as city parks.
Great. So yeah, I think if we're looking at Cardoza, maybe we can explore how there can be a 3rd field there. We'll just leave that exploration point today.
Yeah, that's a great question. And then for softball, we do have Cardoza. It exists now, and there's also Gill Park that has a softball field, and that has lights as well. So.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to Chris Norwood here, and we'll come around in a circle. President Norwood.
Thank you, Mayor Tran. Thank you, staff, Renee, for the presentation that you guys have put together. And thank you, Rich, for asking that question about Cardoza, because I was like, okay, I know the space. I'll be able to figure it out in a minute. So, but I just needed to find my bearing. So thank you for all those ideas. I echo the sentiments of the fact that softball has, from the speakers that spoke, from just growing up in Milpitas, that softball has a place in Milpitas that is going to have its own place, or something much mindful about it, where there isn't going to be a possibility of, for example, the bond in the school district, and being able to serve all the kids at the middle school on an ongoing basis with track and field. But the fact that Milpitas is committing to having a softball location, and I think what the school district tried to show is that, based on what the possibilities are, that make feasible sense in terms of where there might be future planning. As we look as a school district, we wanted to do the best that we could to also avoid that. That's probably why there's some other schools that you didn't see on the table, because there's some things that are in the works that are still getting worked through. I'd probably also say that I appreciated hearing the voices of the different leaders from the softball community talk about their concerns on each. I would love to, and maybe that's offline with Renee at some point, where they kind of get into the prioritization of, because we heard concerns about each, and the city should of course always have concerns in that way, but then also looking at the budgetary numbers so that we could be a little bit further along in this process, because it seems like there's still some work to be done around what the final decisions are going to be or could be realistically.
Okay, great. Thank you, President Norwood. If those are your comments there, I'll go to the Vice President now. Kelly.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Thank you, Renee and staff. And thank you to the people who spoke and letting us know how important these fields are. You know, sports, it's very important to our youth, and the presentation had a lot of information and details. And this is my first meeting hearing, you know, of the fields. And of course, my first thought was, wow, you know, Dixon Landing is ideal, but not the parking. And I'm wondering, like, how much parking is needed, and how can we accommodate, you know, working for both sides. You know, the softball, I mean, these girls, students, it means a lot to them. And we want to, you know, this is part of their livelihood. It's going to help them to, you know, grow and be who they are later on, to be our future leaders. So I'm just wondering down the line, we don't have the budget for this, right? And if we can try to accommodate, you know, the location, are we able to fundraise? Are we able to, I mean, I'm not sure where we're gonna get the money.
Yeah, I'll answer your question. You know, if we're going with Cardoza, is my yeah, if we go with the Cardoza location, it is my strong recommendation that the city of Milpitas fund the whole project and just kind of take it from here.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, yep, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Carry on, Vice President.
No, I'm good. I mean, it's great that if we are able to keep it or, you know, have it at Cardoza, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, great. Fantastic. Okay, I think that it sounds like those are your remarks, Vice President. Thank you.
Hey, Rich, I want to jump back in and circle back and say, hearing the conversation a little bit more, I do appreciate the fact that there's a lot of sports activities that happen in that area. It's not quite the center of town. It has the hills backdrop because we do have soccer there. There is football right on the other side. There's the Little League field. So it's almost like our little sports community type of area that also can build more camaraderie, because everybody in Milpitas can know where they could see these particular sports and have a chance to participate and get involved. So I do like the idea of the expansion of the complex to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. We also have swimming there, now that I think about it, right on the other side with the sports center. So there's something to be said about that possibility, that may also have some different funding options at the state or federal level when we talk about community areas. So it may not just be the city on its own. It may be the city with other dollars from other partners coming in on it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take those. Yeah, and our staff will do a fine job to seek out those dollars. We got a grant writer, our grant position here in our city that you know, we can send this their way to explore.
So thank you for allowing me to interject.
Always, you know, I got a lot of great support for my colleagues here, elected officials and staff, and so anytime, you know this. But to the public that's watching right now, you know, as the conversation evolves here today, this afternoon, you may have some questions and things. I do want to make a comment to the public, which is we are not getting rid of the softball fields. To me, I hope for our community to move the softball fields just to a different location. I know there's a lot of memories over there at Russell, but you know, we got this school bond, and we have to make sure that we're using every square foot of that Russell campus to benefit those students at Russell first. It's the Russell Wolverines first on this one. And I think the school district's project over there with the multi-use fields, with the softball field over there as well, is that for the students. And got to put the Russell Wolverines first there. And we're moving the fields over to the sports center. I mean, it's just going to be a huge festival of youth sports in the spring there once the softball fields come to realization. I remember when I was in New York, I used to go to the US Open, and I would go out to Queens, and I would go out there and it'd be like 20 tennis courts or something like that, 30 tennis courts, just so many tennis courts, all these competitions and matches. And I thought that was so cool. And I think here in Milpitas at the Sports Center, one day soon, as our economy comes around, that we can have just a huge community of sports there. And it'll be families coming in for softball, families coming in for Little League, and all the families will see each other and they'll socialize at the snack shack. We have a brand new snack shack there, folks. You know, during my time, we pushed for a new snack shack, and it's there now. And so it's brand new next to the skate park. Folks can, you know, in addition to the snack shack, which I'm so proud of, oh my God, we have restrooms. We have a brand new set of restrooms, right, Renee, over there on the edge of Cardoza. So there's already brand new restrooms there for the softball fields. And we have the storage facility container things, right, that are there. And so the storage is already there. And so many of the infrastructure that we need is already there, including the restrooms at Cardoza itself. You know, it's all there, and it's going to be parking, and it's going to be really great for our softball program. It's going to be the new home of Milpitas softball for the next century. And it's going to be with the backdrop of our hills and the fresh air and the peace, kind of a tranquil area, if I may, rather than on the Dixon area, no disrespect, you know, but that's closer to the freeway over there and things. And so, oh, sorry about that. Quiet. Sorry. It's Amazon's here, but I'll get that later. But and so I want to let the folks here in town know it's going to be really a tremendous space for our city. You talk about using tax dollars for these softball fields. Guess what? It's not just for the young ladies. You know, we can host adult softball. Adult softball is huge. It's not adult baseball, it's adult softball. Adults, men and women, we can use these fields to generate revenue that can even support the softball young ladies here in town. It's just a tremendous value for different areas or members of the community as well. And so I am really sad to see these softball fields at Russell get transformed to another great thing. But I want to say that we've had fields move around all the time in Milpitas. You know, I think President Norwood could tell you about McKenna Fields over there in Sunny Hills, and you know, baseball fields ended up moving to a different place. So this is that time, and
they winded up. They didn't move. It was raised.
Yeah, I know it was raised, but the fields that, you know, the players went somewhere else. Yeah, but it's just a small example of our town's history here. And I think our Milpitas softball program, all the leaders right now, and all the young ladies that turn into professionals out in our world, they can all come back and we can all be a part of this new movement or chapter for softball here in the 21st century. And so I think it's an exciting time. I saw a little comment here in our Zoom that we're not listening to you, but we are. But I want to just explain from one person myself here in this community, you know, I think what's really happening now, and I'll be very simple here as I conclude my remarks. The softball fields at Russell will be transformed into an amazing multi-use sports fields for the Russell Wolverines that need it so desperately, as an alumni speaking. And the softball fields are going to be new fields at Cardoza, if that's the prerogative of this subcommittee here. And so that is what I hope for the plan to be as we move forward past today. And I think that works out great with everybody. And again, the city is it's on the city leaders, council members that have openly and public supported our softball community and program. And that includes myself and the vice mayor. That's our job now to move these new softball fields forward, brand new ones. And we got done with the skate park in a short amount of time with the funding, moving that needle. And so we're going to do it again here. This is the next one, softball fields.
Right.
Okay, well, we're still on this item. Are there any further comments? Let's go to the vice mayor. I think, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'm just really glad that the city is trying real hard to accommodate the softball. You know, it's the all-American sport. It's been around for baseball, softball. It's a part of our heritage. And I really feel that we need to preserve it. And these girls are preserving it. Because then, you know, when you think about it, it's intergenerational. They will carry it on to their children, and their children will carry it. And so it's the all-American sport. So I had one question on staff on the Dixon site. Is there any vacant land near that little shopping center, or is that I can't remember what it looks like, that area, but is there vacant land for potential parking? Near that little shopping center?
Yeah, it's up the street, and I think there's a sound wall in between the two.
And the mobile park?
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any mobile land over there. We can take a look at it, and we can take a look at parking options at Dixon Landing. We do have to be careful. That is a floodplain area, and then also understand for how much. But if that's the direction, we can take a look more in depth on the parking at Dixon.
Well, why not? I mean, just take a look at it, and it's another option. But it's so far Cardoza seems to be the ideal place. It's not the ideal place, but it's it is ideal in a certain way, but in other ways it's not. But because from my understanding, it only guarantees 3 fields, but I think they need 4 fields. And then I also want to know what guarantees will they have that they will have the fields, because there's so many other competing teams. So that's, to me, that's a big concern, because, you know, it might be all great, but on paper, they might not be guaranteed those fields. And that's my biggest concern.
So the city does have a youth sports user fee and program. And so what that does is identify groups like North Valley Softball, Little League, PAL Soccer, et cetera, that they're serving 51% or more of Milpitas residents. They do get priority use of fields and a lower per player user fee rather than renting fields per hour. What it also does is identify that the sport and season has priority use of those types of fields. So in the spring, the main sports in play are softball and baseball. And so then they would get priority use of those types of fields. So if there were other
and will it be
others
called
that wanted to come in and use it, they would get second. They would. Go ahead.
Will it be designated as a Bobby for girls softball, like Bobby Sox for that area for the girls softball team?
Yeah, if it's a softball field, then the youth sports have priority over adult sports.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was okay. Well, we're moving on because I know it's getting. All right, thank you.
Great. I want to keep the floor open here if there's any more comments from my colleagues across the virtual dais. If not, I want to make a direction for staff here. I want to make a motion if I need to, or just provide direction. Renee, you want a motion from us, or do you need direction? Which one?
Direct.
Huh? Was that Ashwini?
Oh, Mayor, just direction is fine if you
Yeah,
want to,
okay,
because
great.
we also will be bringing this back to the full council with additional information.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal. So I want to give direction here to go with the Cardoza location for this project to be on our City of Milpitas CIP, for the city to fund it wholly, and to have our recreation director to explore attaining another softball field at the sports center from the baseball side, to see if we can really almost really convert one of those baseball fields to softball, to make it 3 softball fields over at the sports center. Just explore that. And I want to make a direction for the JUA at the Roger Yee Field at Russell campus to come back to the council, and so that the city council can consider kind of terminating the JUA, so that they school board can go forward with their construction without that legal document being of a legal concern. Okay, are those good things? I think so. Yeah. Am I missing anything, my colleagues, president, vice mayor? Anything else I'm missing? Okay, I don't see anything. Okay, great. Let me check in with Renee. Is that everything you need? Okay. All right.
Ashwini,
Yeah.
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, I just wanted, maybe if Superintendent Jordan can chime in. I think they were wanting to bring an amendment to the JUA, not necessarily a termination. So it may be an amendment, but we'll bring that forward to council.
Great. That's it right there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it. Whatever we need to do. Okay, great.
So then, Mayor Ashwini will discuss it as staff. I would be amenable to dissolving it, but we'll talk about that further.
Okay, sounds good.
This is great. I love the progress we're making today on this item. Thank you, everybody, for this item. Yes. Okay, if we can, I want to ask, we're going to move on here to item number 3 under discussion, MUSD Innovation Campus Map for Future Ready Learners, Part 1. I'll go to the superintendent. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. We have our Milpitas Alliance partners for Future Ready Learners, and we have put forth a memo of understanding to potential partners as founding members of this consortium that we are establishing as we look forward to the future of education and the impact that our learners will have in the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is occurring at this moment, and the 5th Industrial Revolution is becoming realized. It's critical that we think differently about how people access learning experiences, and to really put Milpitas in the forefront of Silicon Valley, which is not simply Silicon Valley here in Santa Clara County and San Mateo County and San Francisco County. It actually is becoming a worldwide Silicon Valley. So we really have the opportunity to pioneer something, build on something that others have done successfully, and that is to bring together municipalities, institutes of higher education, businesses, corporations, small businesses, in order to provide our learners, middle school through adult, the opportunity to experience learning in a different way. And so we have, I presented at the Economic Development Trade Commission the full set of slides and the data around what our population looks like as far as education and as far as percentage of residents who stay in Milpitas to work versus those who leave. And I think you're all aware, because I pulled the data from the economic development planning, And that is that 12% of our residents actually stay in Milpitas to work. And what we want to do with Milpitas Alliance Partners is at the very minimum, double that to about 25% of our residents stay in Milpitas to work. And some of the other data is that there are many residents in Milpitas who have above a high school education. And we know that as we look at the fourth industrial revolution, and even with the way that the pandemic has accelerated that those who are going to be out of work is, we're already feeling that at about, I think the statistic was around 60% of jobs that we have today are going to be very different in 5-10 years. And so together as a city and a school district with these other partners, we can really help to retool those who are already our adults and learners in our school district, as well as in the city, and provide our up and coming youth with the skills that they need so that they can really lead our community, our city in the world economics. So the Milpitas Alliance Partners for Future Education memo of understanding, where the city would become a founding member, is a great opportunity. And it's something that we invite the city of Milpitas to partner with us.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Appreciate your presentation of this item. I want to ask about, well, first I want to thank the president, Chris Norwood, as well. We have had a discussion recently about how much this program can benefit our community. And I know there's one area that really takes decision making, which is the cost. Oh, was there a presentation or just one slide here?
Nope, I'm just going to our website.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, well,
where you
before I
and the
get,
public can check out what more detail what the MUSD Alliance Partners is.
great.
And it's centered around our MUSD Innovation Learning Campus.
Yes, what a beautiful
provides
project.
more of the details about what the possibilities are.
What a beautiful project. And once it's completed, the possibilities will be endless.
Yep,
I'm
sure.
so excited for it. Yeah, so excited for it. Just it's gonna be a huge resource for our community. Just even in the evening time, it's gonna be amazing. I just ecstatic. I'm ecstatic. That's what I am about that project. I just want to ask a couple questions. One here, who are the other partners that have committed so far?
KLA is our big founding member. And then we have a couple of institutes of higher learning that we're working with. One is in our backyard, San Jose City College. The other is San Jose State University. And we have several others that we've been talking with.
Okay, great. It's crazy. I think this afternoon we're talking about all my alma maters, from Pomeroy to Russell to San Jose City and San Jose State. I got to bring it up. I have proud alumni. I got to bring it up, but it's the only chance I get in life. But anyway, so there's going to be a cost to it.
Yes.
I believe. Okay. And so I think that's really the deciding factor for myself and probably my colleagues as well. And the annual cost is?
It's on a scale depending on the size of the partner. And I believe we were looking at 25,000 for the city.
Okay. So yeah, I want to make a recommendation here to our city staff to bring that decision of this partnership proposal to our city council, have it agendized on our city council meeting. And that way the council can come together and make a decision. me go to the vice mayor here. Let me rely on the vice mayor here. Carmen, what do you think here?
I had a question for Cheryl. Cheryl, what is the difference between this one and the one that Carl Black had initiated way back with businesses and the school district? Just curious.
I'm not familiar with what he had initiated.
I think his was called Better something, BEAM, I think it was called. Do you recall?
No,
You were
I
on,
don't remember
you
that.
were on staff at the time.
Yeah, well, this one also is
Anyway.
Vice Mayor about the new innovation center or campus, if I can call it that. At your old at your former alma mater. See that?
Sure is.
That's your alma mater, right?
I like the fact that working together to create a workforce that is ready for the 21st century. And I know it's all high tech. Right now, I don't know if I think you probably know that we're going through budget cuts. So that's everything is fine. But right now, my only concern is the budget. So I'm going to hold up on that. But the concept, I love the concept. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you.
Let's bring it to the council, Vice Mayor.
Yeah, let's bring it to the council.
So we'll do that. I think that's a big step forward. So great. And I'm still very open to this item. But I think it would benefit the council to really be a partner as well. So we'll do that. I think that's a really great thing for today. Okay. I'll go to the president here, President Norwood or our Vice President Yipchuan, if there's any comments, please.
Sure. Well, thank you again, Mayor Tran. Thank you, Superintendent Jordan, for sharing this item with the city of Milpitas. I think as we always think about, at least I do from the school district perspective, is fiscal responsibility, fiscal accountability, and fiscal opportunity. And the three partners that Cheryl has mentioned, as we began to have conversations with corporate partners, one of the things that we discovered was that a lot of those corporate partners were already working with San Jose City College and San Jose State. So we decided not to attempt to just do all the work at the ground level in working with the businesses, but establishing the working relationship with the higher education institutions that are very mindful of workforce development now, more so than they've ever been. There's been a significant pivot from everybody getting a college degree to people getting certificates, digital certificates, certifications, and a number of other things in less time than 4 years and 4 years of debt. So in part of our conversations with both of those entities, we talked about this is the reason why we want you as partners, because we no longer know, we also know that you're not looking solely at new potential clients. You are being pushed to fuel the next generation of the workforce. Our high school represents, at least workforce age students, we have 1,700, our juniors and seniors, and even some of our sophomores. Our adult ed has, which those are Milpitas residents, by the way. Our adult ed has over 5,000 potential workforce ready people, a majority of which live in the Milpitas area. And then of course, we have our 30,000 plus residents that we reach every day on behalf of their children who are also a part of this pool. So Cheryl's statement about increasing that 12% to 25% has a true pathway to it. And we realize, just like you do on your side, you guys bring in consultants to do things. Well, school districts usually don't do this type of business. They focus solely on education. So when you hear the associated cost, think of it as we are mutually investing in a consultant to support our joint efforts to make sure that in what the city of Milpitas needs economically is what's going to be offered on this campus in the workforce areas, so that again, that 12 to 25%, we can see in reality in combination and not working independently of each other. That was a mouthful.
No, it was great. No, right on, right on. Appreciate you. That's great. Okay, if there's any further comment, if not, I think we've given direction to our city staff here to bring this to the city council for a presentation and vote. And let's keep this let's keep this meeting moving. Let's keep the meeting going here. All right, and stop me if you stop me, or please don't stop me. But let's keep it moving here. City next up, city on number 4 here on discussions. City Youth Program Services update, and we'll go to Renee. And your microphone, please.
Sometimes it's better muted. Okay, so I'll quickly go over the next couple of slides just on what city youth services are being offered right now, especially during the pandemic and specifically to our TK through 12 students. So starting with the TK through 6, the city did start one of the first Bay Area virtual community centers quite a few months ago. So there's virtual classes and programs available for all residents of all ages, but specifically for TK through 6, we do have After the Bell Virtual Kids Clubhouse. That is a spinoff with our leaders that would have normally been out at the school sites. They're doing virtual programs with those kids after school. So there's no burnout. People have the option of doing 3 days a week or 2 days a week. We also have virtual sports, arts, theater, cooking, coding, public speaking classes. Most everything has been shifted online. We've also held drive-through events, pumpkins in the park, milk and cookies with Santa, brunch with the bunnies coming up in a few weeks. It's just an opportunity for the kids to sometimes get dressed up or just get out of their houses, get in the car, drive through Milpitas, pick up a fun activity kit to take home and do with their family. And all these classes, programs, and events, if there's costs, they are all eligible for the Milpitas Assistance MAP subsidy. And coming soon, I know Cheryl and I have been talking about this, distance learning pods. This would be a collaboration between the city and the school district. City staff would lead distance learning pods at a few of the Milpitas Unified School District elementary schools. We currently have 63 families interested, in addition to the already operating Milpitas Unified School District pods that are at a few of the elementary school sites. The MAP, Milpitas Assistance Program subsidy, is available for this program as well, and that offers up to $1,000 per family of subsidy depending on their income level.
Awesome.
Yeah. Grades 7 and 8, again, the virtual community center, all the online programs and classes. We also have Life Online. Life is the after-school programs that were at Russell and Rancho. Life stands for Leading Youth Futures Every Day. That we surveyed all the kids and said, what do you want and how do you want to connect during your time at home? And they were super interested in clubs, and we had a huge response to an art club and a photography club. And actually with the photo club, we are getting those kids' work to be displayed in a virtual art gallery that we're going to be hosting in the spring. We also had a stress and anxiety town hall for youth. And again, all of these programs, if there are costs, which there are, some of are free, are eligible for MAP subsidy. And then for our 9 to 12th graders, again, all the online classes in our repertoire. We also are kicking off the Milpitas Youth Force, which is virtual this year. This is an exciting program that we built where teens are going to work in a group setting with a mentorship business, and they'll be working on a real world problem or improvement that business wants to do. And they're going to tackle it from a youth perspective and make recommendations to the business on things like how to attract and retain young or young adults, customers, staffing, technology, using social media, helping them with things and from a perspective that maybe they haven't thought of. So that'll be an 8-week program. We had more people sign up for that than we did the in-person program last year. So we're really excited to see how this will work. We also have the Teen Center online. We've had Money 101 financial workshops. That was a 4-part series with Patelco. We had a special session where we actually made the Money 101 presentation with Patelco during Cal Hills, Halls, excuse that typo, during school time. So they had an experience of their own during school. We had the Coping with Anxiety Town Hall. We also had a community service workshop on how they can get their service hours while they're in sheltering in place. We also recently had an Applying to College workshop and a Roadmap to College workshop, which was just last night with a huge turnout that went grade by grade with a check mark of all the things that they should be doing for 4 years during high school, so that when it gets time to apply for college or trade school or whatever their futures are, that they're ready. So there was a great response to that, and we plan on holding that again. Most of the teen programs at this level are of low to no cost, but if there is a cost, again, all of those programs are eligible for MAP subsidy. And that's the end of my report. So if there's any questions, or Vice Mayor had initially asked for this item, so Vice Mayor, if there's anything else I can help with, let me know.
Vice Mayor, unmute your.
Thank you, Renee. That was awesome. I loved your presentation. I would love to see it at our city. Love to see this presentation at our city council meeting sometime, if that's a possibility.
Right.
So wonderful. I had a question on that LIFE program. How do you reach out, or maybe not just that one, but how do you reach out to those students that need that extra help, that come from low-income families and are struggling with their self-esteem? How do you reach out to those kids or those families that need that help?
Yeah, so we do have existing emails and databases with our rec software. We really do have strong relationships with the principals at the high school and both of the junior highs, as well as the on-site or on Zoom counselors and guidance counselors, and we take referrals. Our new social services coordinator, she used to work at First 5, and so she works heavily with the Child Development Center. So we do as much outreach as we can to identify the kids that need the help and bring them in. Our youth program coordinator, he has made a special connection with the staff at Cal Hills, and when we were in person, would often catch them when they were walking after school, not catch them doing anything wrong, but just catch them after they left school that day, usually cut through the sports center parking lot. So we would, invite them in, go play basketball. So we use the CASI counselors and the guidance counselors to say, like, hey, who needs this? And then, so we don't break any protocol, we give them the information to then push at the students.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, for bringing this up. Appreciate you. And but yeah, it's a great youth program, and I know we're really working side by side with the school district so that the students are aware of these programs. That I'm sure we are, and let's continue to, as a city, do it even better as much as we can. And I would even encourage, this is coming back to the council, just any incentive for the youth to participate. Sometimes it takes a little pizza slice or something to get the kids in there after school, and all these yeah, youth are making.
Yeah, feeding them works, and I will say that during the Patelco presentation for our financial workshop, we did tease them in with gift cards. So there were drawings during the presentation. So Jamba, if they joined, they got $50 in their first account. So it's sometimes you gotta pull them in by any means possible, and then once they get there, the information is amazing and they learn, and then everyone wins. So
that's great.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, Vice Mayor, if that's it, I want to move on. Okay, great. I appreciate you. Okay, next up here, let's keep this meeting moving here. Item 5, distance learning update, and we'll go to the superintendent. Greetings. Yes. Cheryl, if you can, I believe this is the school district one on for your microphone, and we'll be ready to go.
If we'd like to do a time check and determine whether or not we can push this because to the school district item and we are hosting the next meeting.
Oh yeah, you know, that's a great recommendation, President Norwood. Yeah, I support that. 5:30. Yeah, let's do that if that's okay with our esteemed colleagues over at the school district.
Yes, that works. Our biggest thing we wanted to talk about was MAP. So thank you.
Fantastic. All righty then. You heard it there from the president, and with me as well. Let's see here. So that really carries us into the next agenda item, future agenda items. So that's that. And if there's any new future agenda items anybody wants to state here now, you can. But obviously we can work together after this meeting to put forward future agenda items as well. I don't see any future agenda items request here. Okay, I do see. Let's go with the Vice Mayor, Carmen.
I have one, Mayor. So for the school district, I know I've been hearing a lot of legislators want to reopen schools. So maybe you can kind of fill us in what's the status on that, whether to keep virtual teaching or learning or in-house back in the classroom. So a lot of parents are asking me, and I said, I'll find out. So thank you.
We can definitely put MUSD Educate Everywhere version 3.0 for 2021 and beyond on our next agenda.
Thank you.
Great, awesome. Okay, that's it, folks. Before we adjourn this meeting, I just want to say thank you to everybody, the colleagues, elected officials, leadership with our city staff and school administration. I think today was a really productive meeting for a couple of our items here, and I continue to say that the partnership between the school district and the city is stronger than ever in this 21st century. I really do feel that way, and there's a lot of communication happening amongst us all, and that really means a lot. And I want to tell everybody, everybody's doing a great job, and let's keep doing a great job. And the results, we'll one day look back and be very satisfied with it. So with that being said, have a great weekend, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.